Prior to humanity, prior to history, prior to a single heartbeat reverberating throughout the planets, in the unseen, a decision was made. No cities, no seas, not a single grave, no invocations, just a perfectly ordered universe, angels in ranks, harmonious creation. Nothing is out of place, nothing is restraining. Then, a declaration. I am establishing a successor on Earth, a creature unlike any other, not composed of light, not required to comply all the time, not state-specific, a creature of desire, with feeling, with a choice. And the reaction came right away. Will you put someone in it who will be corrupt and bloody? They weren't rebellious. They wanted to know what we would ask ourselves in the future. Why build a fallible object? Why put perfection at risk? Why create a creature that would be respected even if it were to harm, betray, or forget? Hold on. For this was no accident. It was deliberate. A creation that was completely understood before it was created, being conscious enough to love and strong enough to turn them down. There had not yet been a single human footprint on the planet. However, the narrative had already started. The question still stands: why would Allah create the first human being, being fully aware of what humanity would become? Imagine being a creature with the ability to choose how you are created. Unprogrammed, not coerced, given intelligence, given a desire, given feeling, able to love, and able to rebel. Imagine being conscious when you open your eyes for the first time, aware, able to think, not merely to exist, but to make a choice. Imagine being aware that you have the option to comply or not. You might get up, or you might get down. This creature was not designed to be automatically submissive. This creature wasn't confined to a single state. This was a novel situation. A creation made of earth, but endowed with consciousness. Constructed from clay, but given responsibility. Angels remained steady, accurate, steady. This new creation, however, would pause, fight, question, and still be respected. Adam was that person, developed with the capacity to select thankfulness, formed with the option to select pride, formed with his own choices, bearing the weight of consequences. How he was formed from the earth is not the true question. How life took on his form is not the true question. The true query is, why make a creature capable of disobedience and still regard him as deserving? Every story is more than just a historical tale here. It's an opportunity to reflect, learn, and recognize yourself in the decisions made by those who came before you. Every week, we share thought-provoking articles, heartwarming tales, thought-provoking stories, and a reminder of the profound meaning that permeates every moment of life. Click subscribe to embark on a journey, one story at a time, where history, insight, and introspection converge. The invisible cosmos was already in perfect order long before a human foot ever set on the ground, long before there were cities, mountains, or rivers. Angels moved in unison, their obedience unwavering, every action exact, every task completed without hesitation or mistake. There was perfect balance instead of confusion, doubt, or uncertainty. Devotion characterized their existence. They didn't inquire, They didn't make a decision. Every instruction was carried out instantly, flawlessly, and with ease. They were obedient beings who were fully focused on Allah's will. There was no such thing as free will as we would later understand it. No struggle took place. No temptation was present. Only absolute order prevailed. Then a statement echoed through the universe, a declaration that would reverberate forever. I'm going to make a vice-regent on earth. Even though they couldn't disobey themselves, the angels were momentarily motionless. This idea was novel, something they had never seen before. A creature with the ability to think, choose, and make decisions. A creature with the capacity to do good or harm. With awe and concern in their voices, they inquired respectfully, "Will you put someone in it who will corrupt and kill, while we honor your name and obey your commands?"
This was not rebellion. Curiosity was the reason. For those who had never experienced failure, rebellion, or the weight of decision-making, it was an obvious question. Why would Allah make anything that would upset the flawless order that had been in place from the start? Why permit a creature capable of error, doubt, and even treachery? The emergence of possibility rather than disobedience was the source of the first tension in creation. Choice, error, and growth are all possible. The first hint of what it really meant to be human, the ability to rise, the ability to fall, and the enormous responsibility that goes along with both, was contained in that question. The invisible cosmos was waiting. Although the angels remained in their ranks of obedience, their knowledge of what lay ahead hung subtly in the cosmic atmosphere. This was a unique creation, a creature with the ability to control its own fate, and in doing so, alter the path of all previous creations. Thus, the scene was set before Adam was even born, before the first breath was taken. Still, it was unclear how this new creation would live up to the trust that was placed in it. How would it function in a world of honor, choice, and consequences? The universe held its breath because the beginning of the human story was near.
The angels did as they were told, always. Their devotion was perfect, total, and unflinching. All of their Creator's commands were carried out flawlessly. Without hesitation, every word, every movement, and every thought lined up. There was nothing they could do. No struggle took place. No question was raised. Their devotion was unwavering, unchangeable, and unending. Adam followed. Adam would not be the same. Adam would be able to choose. Adam would be able to reason, make decisions, take action, and experience the consequences of his choices. There would be a creature for the first time that could rise or fall, honor or betray, obey or refuse. Think about this. A machine is perfectly capable of following instructions. It is perfect at reproducing patterns. It can execute commands indefinitely. However, loyalty is not an option. It is incapable of feeling devotion, love, or trust. It can't choose to respect something bigger than itself. It only does what it was designed to do. Adam could. He would possess the ability to make decisions from the moment of his creation. Not mindlessly, not by habit, but with consciousness, with comprehension, with awareness of the consequences. Humanity was defined by this freedom. the capacity to decide what was right and wrong, to act wisely or foolishly.
Without choice, love isn't love. Devotion is not obedience without choice. If there is no chance of wrongdoing, forgiveness is pointless. These facts were ingrained in Adam's very being and in all subsequent humans. This gift also came with a risk. Humanity was made with the capacity to both fall and rise, to fail and then bounce back, to learn from mistakes, to wander and then come back. Free will is important because of this. It is the cause of human ambition, adversity, and development. Because of this, one choice has the power to alter a life, a generation, or even the entire world. The angels never hesitated, never asked questions, and never gave in to temptation. Adam and his followers would learn the importance of consequence, the weight of decision, and the seriousness of duty. And there is honor and challenge in this. For the time being, one has both purpose and choice. Humanity was not intended to be flawless. The human race was created to be capable, able to feel love, able to fight, able to acquire knowledge, able to come back when it falls. Adam, the first human, received this as a gift, and every future tale, every victory, every setback, and every developmental milestone that characterizes what it is to be human is contained in that gift. The universe gradually started to hold its breath, anticipating how this unique being would react to his newfound freedom.
Adam was clay before he took his first breath and before consciousness ever touched his body. Not just any clay, but a blend of the earth itself, collected from every nook and cranny and shade of the uncharted world. Every texture and hue, from fine dust to the richest loam, from red earth to dark soil, was selected with intention. Imagine the Creator reaching into the formless and carefully, patiently, and precisely molding, shaping, and sculpting. Dust is pressed into a previously unseen shape by hands that understand the weight of eternity. The clay was not dead. Rather, it was a vessel awaiting the spark of life, potential, possibility. A creature would emerge from this lowly origin, the first human being with the ability to think, feel, and make decisions would arise from this basic earthly substance. And you can see how all of humanity is reflected in that mixture of dust. Because we are composed of people from all over the world, each of us has a distinct texture, strength, and personality that makes us unique. That initial form contained all temperaments, inclinations, talents, and struggles. Dust. Be humble, typical, but destined for unimaginable honor. Imagine this: the being who would bear the trust of the universe, the capacity to choose, love, learn, and influence the course of all creation, was created from the same earth that creates mountains and rivers, from the same dust that returns to the ground at death. And the universe watched in silence as the clay was collected, formed, and refined. This was the birth of humanity's potential, the birth of all tales, all victories, all setbacks, and all development. The basis of human life was established from lowly dust, and the tale of responsibility, honor, and choice was waiting to be revealed in that very dust. They had shaped the clay. Every line, curve, and detail on the form was precisely completed. However, it was still dead. Consider a figure that is silent but perfectly proportioned. Even so, not moving, awaiting. The cosmos itself appeared to hold its breath, anticipating what lay ahead. Being the first human, this was no ordinary creation. Nevertheless, it was just dust at that precise moment, awaiting the spark that would give it life. Then, Allah breathed into Adam with complete intent. The divine breath of life entered the form slowly, respectfully, and purposefully, and everything changed in that one moment. Dust came to life. Awareness emerged from matter. An earthly form evolved into a sentient, living entity. The universe saw awareness awaken for the first time. The first human heartbeat, the initial throb of perception, emotion, and thought. Potential that would reverberate throughout eternity was ignited by the first spark of decision that flickered within the clay.
The very essence of life was introduced in that one miraculous moment. Not preset, not mechanical, but alive, able to think, able to experience emotions, able to make a decision. Think about it. From the most basic dust, a creature that was capable of love, hope, struggle, and learning emerged. The weight of knowledge, the ability to comprehend, and the gift of responsibility were all contained in the most basic clay. The first human was revealed to the universe when Adam's eyes opened, a creature of honor, purpose, and unmatched potential. A creature with the ability to choose, think, be morally courageous, and grow. All things the angels had never experienced. Life was entrusted in that breath, not just given. The first human had come into the world with the ability to change history, to succeed or fail, to rise or stumble. The history of humanity, officially, began at that point.
Adam was completely alive and fully formed when he stood in front of the angels, but he was also completely new, a creature unlike anything that had ever existed, as though the universe itself had stopped to observe what was about to happen. There seemed to be a quiet anticipation and a sense of stillness in the air. Prostrate before Adam was the next command, not for religious purposes, not out of devotion, however, for honor. The angels shifted, each precisely bowing in acknowledgement of the creation. They had complied with innumerable orders in the past, but this was different. This was recognition of something special, something extraordinary, a clay creature that was touched by the breath of God and is now acknowledged as superior to even the most flawless creations. Take a moment to think. Picture yourself honored before you have made a mistake, prior to you ever making a mistake, before you ever doubted yourself or stumbled. That is the beginning of humanity. That is Adam's dignity, and through him, all people's potential.
It is impossible to exaggerate the importance of this moment. A unique balance is embodied by humanity, which was created from dust, but was chosen to hold honor above angels. Humble in origin, but capable of greatness. Frail in form, but given responsibility. New to existence, but given the potential to rise beyond measure. Take a moment to think about this. The echoes of that honor are still present in you as a human. You were acknowledged as deserving before you stumbled, before you doubted, before life put you to the test. You were endowed with worth, meaning, in the capacity to change the world. Human dignity is based on this. This serves as a reminder that our value stems from the gift of life itself, not from accomplishment. Adam was honored before he ever walked, spoke, or made a decision. That honor also contains the blueprint for every human journey, the assurance that greatness, growth, and redemption are still possible despite mistakes, uncertainty, and failure. In that one instant, the universe had declared that humanity was not a mistake, an afterthought, or a short-term experiment. Humanity was honorable, purposeful, and capable of the impossible. The first lessons, the first decisions, the first hardships, and the first victories of humanity were all set in motion with that recognition.
However, this is the part that most people don't understand. Because Adam was perfect, he was not honored. Because he could follow every instruction exactly, he was not honored. Because he was beyond doubt or error, he was not honored. He was respected for his capacity for learning. Adam possessed the ability to develop, comprehend, and reflect from the beginning. He was never intended to be a completed work. He was intended to be a student of the cosmos, a creature with the capacity to reason, absorb information, and see the world in ways that the angels themselves were unable to. Allah then gave Adam the names, all names, every idea, everything that existed, both known and unknown. He provided Adam with language, as a means of understanding as well as a means of communication. He endowed him with awareness, cognition, recognition, categorization, and introspection. Even though they were flawless, the angels lacked this. They couldn't name, but they could obey. They couldn't produce knowledge, but they could follow. Adam could, having been created from dust and divine breath.
Consider this. Human intelligence is a gift. Humanity is unique in its capacity for learning, questioning, adapting, and comprehending complexity. Adam was given the capacity to reason, to recognize the invisible patterns of the world, and to carry knowledge forward from the moment of his birth. Humanity has such great potential because of this. We are able to learn, discover, and reflect, not because we are born flawless. Adam inherited knowledge, which was the first indication that people were supposed to rise, change, and use wisdom to influence the world. The universe then saw something extraordinary, a creation that was modest in origin, but endowed with intelligence that allowed it to comprehend, invent, and understand realities that even angels were unable to. A creature that can bear the burden of responsibility, knowledge, and decision-making. Humanity is defined by this divine gift. And the first lessons about life, meaning, and comprehension would start to emerge from this gift.
Adam was created for what reason? Why did the Creator create a being out of clay, give it life, elevate it above angels, and give it the ability to grow, learn, and make decisions? The solution is found in purpose. Purpose that permeates all subsequent human lives. Adam was given responsibility for the earth and everything on it when he was created as a Khalifa, or steward. Stewardship, however, is not a passive role. It requires consciousness, comprehension, and decision-making. It calls for accountability. Being a Khalifa means carrying the burden of moral judgment, balancing right and wrong, and acting sensibly when faced with complexity. Humanity wasn't meant to be perfect. Angels alone would have been enough if perfection had been the aim. No, Adam was made to struggle, to make choices, to fall, and to get back up. This process could make the qualities of God, mercy, forgiveness, justice, and wisdom, appear in a living being. These attributes were made possible by every decision, error, and lesson learned in ways that obedience by itself could never disclose. Forgiveness is impossible without free will. Repentance has no purpose if there is no chance of error. Growth is impossible without struggle. Adam's creation serves as an example of a fundamental truth. People were made to rise to challenges, grow as individuals through choices, and achieve their goals through deliberate action.
Imagine a creature that can make mistakes and still be respected, doubt and still be trusted, struggle and yet be endowed with wisdom. It was never intended for humanity to exist merely. In a world that would require every ounce of discernment and bravery, humanity was intended to interact, navigate, learn, develop, and reflect the Creator's wisdom, justice, and mercy. The blueprint for every human life, imperfect beginnings, conscious decision-making, moral responsibility, and the path toward growth, is depicted in the story of Adam, the first human. Adam was made in order for life itself to serve as a medium for knowledge, understanding, and the manifestation of the divine's attributes. As the first human stood ready, not just to live, but to carry meaning, to bear responsibility, and to light the way for everyone who would come after, the universe held its breath and watched. Creation was given a trust, a burden so great that even the mountains rejected it. Even with their perfect obedience, the angels could not stand it. However, humanity embraced it. This was the amana, the heavenly confidence, the duty that would characterize what it meant to be human. It was a heavy load. The gift was not an easy one. It was an exhortation to take responsibility and to live a conscious, purposeful, and free life. This burden is carried by every human being born, starting with Adam. Humanity made the decision to assume responsibility from the moment of the first breath and the first spark of consciousness, to take action, make a choice, and gain knowledge, to live completely conscious of the fact that every decision affects fate, every action has an impact on the world, and every choice has consequences.
Consider this. Every choice you make counts. Every action you take, every word you say, and every idea you entertain matters. This isn't meant to break you, though. This is not supposed to be too much. This is the goal. This is a mark of honor. This is the essence of humanity. The trust was too great for the mountains. It was voluntarily accepted by humanity. The test, to live life to the fullest, to face obstacles, to make decisions, to rise, to stumble, and to rise again, was accepted by humanity. From Adam onward,
The narrative serves as a reminder that we are accountable for every action, every idea, and every instant. And the deep significance of life is found in that obligation. We have been given the responsibility to act honorably, live mindfully, and develop via adversity. This is the burden of humanity, the amana, the challenge, the gift that makes life meaningful. The path of decision-making, responsibility, and purpose started then.
Let this sink in for a moment. You are not a random person. You are not a product of circumstance or time. A decision that would have an impact on eternity was made long before the mountains, rivers, and first human breath. And you are a part of its development. You possess the same abilities that Adam did. The ability to reason, question, and comprehend. The ability to connect, love, and feel profoundly. And the ability to make decisions that influence your life's course. You are capable of stumbling, falling, and making mistakes, but you also have the ability to get back up, think things through, grow, and learn. Every choice, action, and thought is a part of the story that started with Adam. You carry the same responsibility, the same honor, and the same trust. Life is purposeful. It is not random. Your hardships are not pointless. Rather, they are the foundation upon which your strength will be built. Your decisions are not insignificant. They are the strokes that apply your purpose to the canvas of life. Think of it, a dust creature endowed with intelligence, consciousness, and dignity. Adam was that being, and it was through him that humanity's blueprint was established. You are living the same trust, the same purpose, and the same responsibility that existed before time as you know it every time you have to make a decision, weigh right against wrong, or get back up after falling. The circle of creation is this: life as a gift, the dignity of humanity. And with that, every moment turns into a chance to think, to act, to become the person you were always destined to be.
Do you doubt your value? Examine yourself. Keep in mind that you were respected before you ever erred. You were acknowledged, trusted, and given the ability to succeed before you made a single mistake, had a single doubt, or failed. Whether you are sufficient is not the true question. What will you do with the gift of choice is the true question. How will you uphold the duty, respect, and confidence that were ingrained in you long before you were born? Take a moment to experience the opportunity, the weight, and the potential. Every idea, choice, and action you make is a part of a story that started with Adam, the first human, whose decisions established the foundation for what it means to be human. If this story touched you or made you realize your own worth, strength, and purpose, please leave a comment with the word purpose. And tell me what struck you as the most powerful aspect of this story. I read each and every comment. This conversation includes every thought, every insight, and every reflection. Allow this story to resonate in your mind, serving as a reminder that life is a gift, that choices are sacred, and that your potential is boundless.